And Hawune. So I would like you guys to think about birds. At kawdliyeeji. At. We're going to name as many as we can to sort of warm up. While you're thinking, not looking them up, just thinking of all these ones you might know, we're going to explain a couple of things, I guess, or I'm going to explain. You're going to figure out a couple of things. So I guess first of all, we'll just take a look at this term, at kawdliyeeji, at. And you can look this one up. That's totally fine. What does that mean? How does it work? That kind of stuff. Does anybody know?
Things that fly around.
I got your
Okay.
request. I'll work on that for the next year. So,
All fly
at
around.
kawdliyeeji, at
Things that fly.
things that fly around. So there's a number of different things we can sort of look at. So if we encountered a word like this, what would we look up to sort of see what's a good starting point? That's
No, it's a
we'll start with something, right?
maybe j.
So there's two different types of ut there, which
It's
is
not connected, so I should.
interesting. So the last one is probably the most familiar type. It means something, and it could mean some things. It could just mean things as well. Thing or things. The one in the front, we'll get to recognize when we're using motion verbs. So there's two high-toned ut things, and there's a low-tone ut. The low-tone ut would be an object pronoun. It means something.
Both high-toned.
What's that?
Yeah, they're both high-toned?
Yeah, they should both.
Oh, okay.
The high-tone one before a verb will usually signal that there's a motion verb, and it means around at that place. Like, I walked there. I walked home. I walked to the store. I walked around. Not really any, just walking around, right? That's why they'd say, Tiki walk nach tu a. Let's go take a walk. So we've got the something verb thing, or like around, I guess, around verb thing. So then to get to this kawdliyeeji business, kawdliyeeji, oops, what would I look at?
Verb root.
Yeah, and the verb root would be?
Each.
So we'll go find that. Oops, not that. Oh, not that, not that. And let me open the verb dictionary. So here's our verb dictionary. We're going to go down to Y. I'm going to zoom in. And there we see our answer. K-A. And they put D-L-I, right? And so we'll get to how we write the classifier now, but we do write it a little bit different than this. But this is for plural things to fly, okay? One thing will yandaqin, multiple things will yakanalyich. And then this is just something that you're going to have to get used to. With motion verbs for Tlingit, it's usually different whether it's one thing or multiple. And there's not a whole bunch, but standing, sitting, sleeping, walking, running, flying, those ones, those tend to pluralize. A bunch of people in a plane, that's still singular because they're not flying on their own. Superman and the other flying Supergirl and other flying people, that would be plural. Birds, plural, right? So the things that fly around. The second question we had was we had a picture of Oscar the Grouch. and he says, Heshtasa uchsechan. So what does that translate to, and how does it work?
I don't love you.
Well, I don't love you would be kawdliyeeji, which I was working on a bunch of these with Juanish, George Davis, and his wife was in the bedroom. She'd just usually stay in the bedroom and would work at the kitchen table. And I was just trying to get, I just laid them all out. I was like, I love you. I love y'all. I love him. I love them. I love, and then we'd do the negative ones. And so I said, I don't love you. And she said, Ishan. I started,
Hate everyone?
so hate is its own verb.
Okay. Or
Hate would be,
Don't.
shakan would be the hating.
is it like
Is the daw about something?
Oh, wait, I forgot something. Jeez.
I hate pronoun.
There we go.
Well,
Echtasa uchsechan ganchish.
what don't I something about don't loving, right? Don't
Okay.
what?
love
What don't I
teeth.
what?
So here's a couple of things too. So like on their own,
So like,
dasa is what? And it could be a question, but it doesn't have to be a question, right? So I could tell you about what you could say. Dasa iu hundakehitik. What did you buy at the store? Gat, saknin, gli, dasa. So I could say I bought bread and whatever I said. Like so, you're listing some things, and you say, and whatever. Like and so it could be like just saying and a bunch of stuff, right?
I don't love anything.
And then, so you have cha dasa. So when you put cha in front of it, how does that change it?
whatever.
Just.
Whatever.
Oh,
Just
okay.
whatever.
Whatever, right? So it is kind of just, but then there's these things where once we see them in combination, they tend to just change a little bit. So, so that would be whatever. When we put tleish or heish or tish, when we put tleish in front of it,
Nothing.
nothing, right? So now we're starting to get to the verb. So chesechan is I love. I love him, her, or it. Although, I think after working with some speakers on some exercises, we typically don't say, I love fried chicken. Right? You just say, I want it. Because this is kind of like, the verb means to like be next to a person usually. I'm sure you could love like a dog and a cat, maybe your boat or something. But it's not usually, because like the way we use love, like I love that show. I love coffee, right? It's a little different. We usually just say,
No. Coffee and food are right up there.
right, but those are just to us,
Kids.
right? Because you're going to consume them.
Wow.
So I could say, so if I said this, or I could say, either way. So those are nouns, those are not, they're separate from that verb itself, but by naming that thing, now you're saying, I love everything. So then, like kesh uchsechan, that's going to push the verb negative, right? And so when you say kesh dasa, and that means nothing, and then if you want to put it in front of a verb, you can do that. But then it's going to push the verb negative. And I first, I knew this by the time I was working with Juanish, but I was working with Tunk Smitty Katzik. And we were talking about some things. And then he said, Keshdasa has awasku. It's like, oh wow, I love that construction. And that was a cold-blooded critique. He said, they don't know anything. Right? Or and then you could say they know. I think I don't love anything would really be what that means. And that was a bonus because we're going through all these different lists. And then he just laughed and he said, "Kashdasa uchsachan." I was like, I don't love anything? He's like, yeah. So, just a fun, grumpy way to start class. So, what I'd like us to try, and we'll do this every now and then, just to try out some of our lists, see how we do. It's a good listening exercise, and then as we keep going in intermediate Tlingit, it'll be less like list and more like tell me some things in Tlingit. And we're going to get there. We'll try that a few times too this semester. But if we think of birds, what I'd like us to try and do, and there's a lot of us, which is amazing. Everybody gets to name a bird,
Oh, no.
but we don't want to repeat the name twice. So,
Can I start?
what we say, if someone says something, that we just say, de tuwa'ach. De tuwa'ach. We already heard it. We already heard it. And a couple of things. This is not a competition. Everybody wins. This is, if you can't think of anything, it's not a big deal. It's just an exercise. And then some things to note is if you hear one and you're not sure what it is, don't say, "What's that?" But just make a note of it. And then we'll talk afterwards, because our goal is to just sort of use this opportunity of list building to also sort of set English aside for a little bit. So instead of saying, "Oh, dang it, I forgot," you can say, "Tam, I forgot." So that's and then there's any number of ways we can say. You could just say hoot, and that means I just don't have one right now. That's how we're going to interpret that for the time being. It's just I don't have one right now, and it is not a big deal at all. And so I think typically when I do this, like we know a lot of animals, we know some birds, we don't know too many plants, but we know quite a few like water animals. So today we'll do birds. The next time I think we'll do water animals. I don't know when. We'll see how everything goes. Oops. No. Day. So when day goes in front of a verb, it means it has already happened. So if someone tries to like really explain something to you, you say, "Dechosaku. Dechosaku." I already knew that. So, you guys say it in a snotty way. I think I tend to. Any questions before we start? Okay, so when we'll go around the room, and then when we get online, I'll try and go through who I see. Sheesh. Okay. Satuk. You want to go first?
I don't know if this is a verb.
A bird.
Bird.
Oh, a bird.
Bird. Yes,
Oh.
sorry. Kawdliyeeji.
Oh,
I'm bird.
I was
We'll do
sweating.
this one late in the semester, but maybe we'll do birds. I guess I gotta say that I didn't say it very clearly. Birds, birdies, flying. If you're going to throw in flying insects, fine. Okay. They fly. At kawdliyeeji at means things that fly around. That's the Tlingit. You can also say tsatsi. That means bird or birds. In the stories, they usually say tsatsi. And Raven's he's always messing with those birds. They say they're his grandkids, but he's always just messing around with them. Okay.
Kawdliyeeji.
Kawdliyeeji.
Nooked.
Nukt.
Nooked.
Tsachweesh. Yake. Akoa. What's that?
Chalk.
Chalk. Okay.
Shayash.
Shayash. Okay.
Hindi chun. No?
Kinda. Chu. Yeah, what? Kinda chunate.
Right, chunate.
Kinda chunate. Yeah, what?
Siki. Di.
Ah. Seqini. Okay.
Siki. Di.
Mm.
Sikine.
Ah, seqini. Okay. Okay.
Mm. Kaglit.
Kaqid. Okay.
Tigitya.
Tikitkia. Okay. Anya nakhla itqoha.
Eat,
Oh, siyenaka.
eat,
Okay. Eat. Audagan.
Shuck.
Siyenaka.
Shuck.
Okay.
It's supposed to be heron. Did I say it right?
Ah, shak. Yeah, away. Shak.
Okay.
Okay.
Aw.
Ashke itqoha.
Lacanese.
Kachanes. Okay.
Kawdliyeeji so.
Oh, good.
Ish.
Ish. Okay. Kuatong. Itqoha.
Shuch.
Shuk. Okay. Hmm. Shikudzi shawat itqoha.
What? Okay, go lay down. Okay, go tell Brandon or Nana, please. I don't know any other birds except for the ones that were already said.
Eshwasa oti. Shish. Yidatqoha. Shikudzi shawat itqoha.
Well, I was trying to say Zisk, which I know is as moose, but it was explained that it was also horned owl.
Achu at sisk. Yeah, wakatsu sisk. Achu at zisk too.
Zisk.
Sisk koa. Shidihini I.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, waka. Juan Shane it koa.
Yes.
Yake. Yaktushi.
Kagit.
Deo tua ach koa kakit. Chakutaka.
Cake.
Yake. Hate aya. Yacht it koa.
Hel dasa tlech khwasaka.
Nikoya Juan Helwasa oti. Just the cut you han we. Ich de de kuuwu. Was ye khoach. Khat koa. Kach. It koa. Suk. Chaputa.
Helwasaku.
Wasa. Chak.
Uh,
Yes.
Deo tuach. Okay. Yitkoha. Kanuk. Okay.
Why are we saying Roach?
Okay.
Awak.
Wak. Yeah, awa.
Kawdliyeeji.
Kawdliyeeji. Okay.
Gun.
Sugan. Yeah, awa. Yeah, awa. Dak. Sugan. Okay.
Tach.
Tag. Yeah, awa. Yeah, awa. Anya nachtla. Yitkoha.
Tsatsi.
Ha. You okay? Atsi. Audagan.
Shugun.
Sugan again? Dewa tua achkoa. Chakuta ge isaku.
Huh?
So yanaka?
I have no idea what you're asking me.
Oh, we already heard it. Do you know a different one?
Oh, Kejadi.
Kaitladi. Hutsu. Dewa tua ach. We heard that one too.
Yuk.
You. Yake. Yake.
Uh-huh.
Bill. Yitkoha.
Kagit.
Kakit. Dewa tua ach. Chakuta ge isaku.
Tsatsi.
Tsatsi. Dewa tua achtsu. Chish. Ashke. Ka dewji yitkoha.
Ganda the Gugu.
Ganda de gugu. Yake.
DOG so. Jug.
Dew tua ach.
I mean, do to
Chakut again. Kasham schau. Yake. Gunish chish. Kuwat sekudzi shawat dit koha.
Tlechquasaku.
Kon klein.
Tleitlo.
Kleishu. Yake. Yakdishi.
Tiu kush donate akushe.
Siu kushtanate ye owa. Yake. Yacht. Oh, what's like?
Tlechquasaku.
Okay, so let's just open it up. Don't like rattle off a whole bunch, but if it's being quiet and you can think of one, just say one, and we'll see how much farther we can go. Eish kdeu tua ach. Kin yewa yake. Kun.
Ganuk.
Anuk deu tua ach.
Kitchyet.
Kitchyat yake. Hintak kwespi yake.
Chik.
Chik yake.
Shayash.
Shayat deo tua ach.
Oh,
Hin takyan da kingach.
Spoost.
Sus, yake. At
Ace awa
is
akushe.
sawa, yake.
Shawuch.
Shawuch, yake. Ek. Kinda chunate deo tua ach. Kach.
Lekutsi Shawat.
Kutsi shawat. Oh.
Did she fly?
Oh, yeah, owa, shikutsi ka.
Ah,
Ka deo tua ach. Keen.
So,
Lleisir deo tua ach. Ka da keidi tlachi. Ka da chechi.
Geen.
Keen, yake. Ka tuwu.
Kick.
Kik deo tua ach.
Shugan.
Deo tua ach. Shugan, yake. Kachunach, yake. Ka tuwu, yeah, owa. Oh. Gandats aji. Gandats aji, yake. Kut. Not the kech. Douche.
Yeah. Kawdliyeeji. Satsi.
Yeah, owa. Guts ya douche. Oh. Shaki Khan. That's yake.
like a fly.
Ran breasted. Oh, whoosh nach whoosh kak yake. Nuthatch. Hechasaku. Sukka. Huchaka. Okay. What are some ones that you want to know what the English name might be?
Well, I wanted to know the other word for butterfly. This means like dances around people.
I've heard three. Tleitlu, which is a moth, or a butterfly, depending who you talk to. And it could also be tleitlu, and it could also be tleitlu. I think it's a regional thing. Kawdliyeeji is mold on a person's coffin. That's another type of butterfly. And kawdliyeeji dances around people.
Black oyster catcher.
Shugun, which is also the tufted, or the bigger puffin, whatever they call
It's
it.
a tufted puffin.
Yeah.
But also an oyster catcher.
Yeah. And I don't think they're typically in the same place. That's probably all right. Qanuk. That's a petrel. It's also the guy that Raven messed with a few times. Got the water from. Kicked the fish out of his belly. Okay. Ahuesh is a crow.
What's the word for dragonfly?
Hashashchao.
Scissors.
It's more like ka, person, sha. The sh is sounds like a classifier, and then chao. I think it has to do with the fact that if they land on your head, you're going to lose all your hair.
What is
Nooked.
Nooked. Nooked.
O-X-T?
Say it again.
Nooked.
N high tone U-K-T. Nooked. It's a blue grouse or a hooter.
There is a conversation about the origin of Tlingit dancing that's about a nook. They also use the word nuptish, They say, Nuktish aya shuane.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't figure out what a nuktish is.
Oh, he says nuktich. I think he's saying that it's a suffix. So uh, that one's a tough one, but like maybe an easier one might be like, what I don't want to talk about. Like this is a black bear. And if I'm telling you about like this black bear, I saw a black bear and a beaver and whatever. And if I want to say the black bear is the one who did this thing, then I would put a CH after there.
Oh.
And so this is something that Tlingit has. Sometimes you'll see a CH pop up on a noun. Like they'll say "kusach kwanch," and that's telling you that's the one that does the verb. And Tlingit only uses it when it's not completely clear who might be doing something. And so sometimes like you got a bunch of different people, or we're going back and forth, or we just really need to specify that that's the one who did it. And so you'll hear someone say wa'h, that means you did it, chach, I did it, hooch, he or she did it. So we were doing this little silly tongue twister thing. We said hooch away yeah wa ka hooch away. He or she's the one who said hooch away. So, and then we'd say hooch away yeah wa ka hooch away yeah wa ka hooch away. Right. So we're just kind of doing something with it. Anyways, any others that we wanted to? I named a lot. That was great. We probably threw out like 60 birds, and birds are kind of hard sometimes.
What is a Stellar's J? I don't know if it was.
When ya shukwa yeti gwash natskawe to katagu ya kawe ya family farm de ya wahi ya wahas to jiwu we tsatsi klein kalkadein atyen da kini akhoa peacock ye do a sago at ho away khatkewa woos klekar keinach. What's peacock in Tlingit? The inka chonik heslasai kusti ach ina kawanik koa. We should call it ina. Ajmeach to asagu do yetu wasa. Janasko de kataku. My daughter was 3. Family farm days was happening here in Juneau. We went, and they had these big birds, the peacock, and we were looking at them. And then she asked me what it's called in Tlingit, and I said, there's no Tlingit name for it. And she said, maybe we should call it which is blue lamp. And so I just thought that was really kind of cool. Is there a word for pterodactyl? No. And dinosaurs, that's a really good question. Like I've just been saying like like a monstrous lizard, but that doesn't really encompass all the dinosaurs. It'd be probably a good exercise. We came up with some fun names for a few of them. The Triceratops was Nuskashidi, 3 horns. The one Stegosaurus was Dichkasiki, plates on its back. The pterodactyl, though, I don't know, because it's kind of hard to think of even what it looks like. Yeah, Yandakin sin chetlain. That could work. It's like a flying big lizard. Is it kind of lizard-like? Isn't it kind of lizardy?
Yeah, they have like a or supposedly, I guess.
I mean, I guess we just theorize on what they're
Not feathers.
Right. Maybe they did.
It was more like.
They might have feathers.
It might have. Like it's kind of like dinosaurs. They might have all had feathers. Like,
Yeah.
we have no idea what they're.
No idea.
There are fossils with feathers.
Yeah.
And I just read recently that birds supposedly evolved from dinosaurs. So.
Yeah, right. Because they get the same They analyzed the bone structure of a chicken or something.
Lady Tom.
Anyways, we'll forget. I don't know of any stories with any dinosaurs, which is not even like a mammoth or a saber-toothed tiger, and we were totally coexisting with those guys.
I don't know why it's named that.
In Mohawk, I've heard they have stories of saber-toothed tigers and dinosaurs and stuff. They're kind of spirit helpers.
What about loon and like
Kaqit. But there's also hin kakahi. That's what they call it in Tesla. Kaqit means dark. Hin kakahi is cries over the water.
like surf scoters, like those black ducks that are always all over the place?
Go there.
Uchgauch is the little black ones. There's other names for those scoters, which I'd have to look them up.
Someone very
She
close to
just
me
remembered
just
one.
said, no,
She just remembered
I just
one.
saw it on somebody's notebook. Sagadi Tan.
Sigatitan, that's a bat.
Where does that, how does that work?
It looks like beaver and sea lion just put together, and beaver is already seems to be like steek, ye, adi, the thing under the black bear. So I don't know how those are tied together. Linguistically, you could say it means thing under the black bear, sea lion. That's what it looks like.
Their wings look like if you look really up close, they look like sea lion flippers, and their little faces look like sea lion faces.
Huh.
But that's like theoretical.
Maybe the pterodactyl could be Yandakintan. Okay. All right.
What was the bird in the story Jinghatin?
So Yanaka, was it?
Jinghatin? What was the bird in that story? Jinghatin.
I don't know. I don't know if I know that story.
He rode on the bird's back and then he got his eyesight back.
Oh. I don't. It's I don't know. I'm not familiar with that story. Where'd you find that? Where's that one at? Did you?
Robbie sent it out a couple of years ago and I had it on a recording.
Wow. I'll ask her. I'll ask her about it. Or if anybody remembers, if I forget, ask her about it. And then there's lots of these birds that are in the stories too, and there's lots of them that there's one, I always forget it, Kune, I think is its name, and it's called a camp robber. And that's the one, especially if you're Tagish, like if you're out at camp, it'll tell you when somebody's coming. And so Tla'uskla Ida Kalmigan told me about it. She said their dad would be out hunting, and all of a sudden those birds would start, their song would just change. So they'd start getting the house ready, and they said a couple hours later he'd come with the moose. And so she was way out in the middle of nowhere with her husband, and all of a sudden, and she heard those birds, their song change. So she made this big old giant thing of stew, and her husband was saying, "What are you doing? It's just us out here." She said, "People are coming. We got to feed them." He said, "Oh, you're crazy," and they showed up, so. Yeah, yuck, ayo, huh? That was wonderful. Okay. So yeah, keep if you think of other questions, let me know. For now, we're going to kind of move through this and just sort of review what this thing is saying and asking. We're working on these object pronouns, right? So we'd say, I am called, you are called, she or he is called. You do a sock.
You do a sock.
You would do a sock.
You 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 would do a sock.
You would do a sock.
You do a sock.
You do a sock.
So this first part of this chapter is just sort of saying, what's your name? My name is this. What's my name? Your name is this. What's his or her name? His or her name is this. Now, but the wasat do a sock is really handy, because you could just say it about, wasat do a sock yata. What's this thing called, right? What's that one called? And so those are a couple of neat little things to know how to use is yat and wait. So yat is this one or these ones. Wait is that one or those ones. So you see the ya and the we built into them, right? And then you could just say, the other way you can use this phrase is you could say, sa, do a sa, blank, Tlingit, enach. So this is how you can ask what anything is called and still be speaking Tlingit. Wasa do a sa, oyster catcher, Tlingit, enach. Shukan, burning nose, right? Wasa duas, and so this is really only works for nouns though. What is it called? What is it called? What is it called? Not wasa duasak, it's raining. It'll work. People will know what you're saying, but that's not really getting into the name of things. So you can also say oops. So this is a little, it's not like it's not a big deal. But wasaqadu waqa is, how does a person say it? Wasaqadu waqa. Now you can insert your phrase. Wasaqadu waqa, I'm hungry. Tlingit chinach. Wasaqadu waqa, I don't love anything. Tlingit chinach, right? And so this is more like a phrase or a saying. And then the first one is the name of something, right?
So, wasa gachtusa.
And then, wasa gachtusa. How do we translate that one? Anybody know? Gachtu. Gachtu is, when you see gachtu at the front of a verb, it's always going to be, we are going to. Sa is, it's the verb root for sa, wasa do a sa.
How should we say?
So for example, if you said, yeah. So someone might say, wasa do a sa elevator, can get enach. Feshasaya kosti, wasa gachtu sa. A name for it doesn't exist. What are we going to name it? So this is how, this could work for a bunch of different things. Something that we don't have a Tlingit name for. And if you say this to the elders, wasakach sa light socket, or what do you call that? Power
Outlet.
Outlet. I don't English. Wasakach sa outlet. And then we'll cook up a name. And so when we're moving into these different immersion environments and stuff, this is going to be handy. Wasakachtusa. So wasa duasak, what is it called? Heshasai kusti. So you'd say hesh. Heshasai kusti. A name doesn't exist. Wasakachtusa. How are we going to name it?
Is it proper to say wasa isaye, or like what is your name, or like?
Usually just say wasa duasak.
Okay.
Right, because dasa isayi might grammatically work, but I don't think anybody really says
that.
Okay. Just say wasa duasak.
Wasa adu ka Tlingit enach. What was the translation?
Oh, yeah. So this one is, the first one is basically what is it called in Tlingit? And then this one here is, how is it said in Tlingit? And then, this one is, how are we going to name it? And then this one is a name for, its name doesn't exist, basically. Okay. So back to this. So that's what this is doing. We're going to move through the naming part. Another way, if you're introducing yourself, like, you know, hey, meeting starting, you could say your name, Aya Akhsayi, and there's no verb there. Aya Akhsayi. And one way is not better than the other. It's just a different way to do the same thing. You could also say, and this is sort of the thing with when we're using these patterns. In the flow of language, you might say, my name is Lance, I'm Tlingit, it's Chone, I'm from here, you know. So you don't necessarily have to do the full sentence every time. You also don't need to put a bunch of ayachats in there, because once you sort of start this thing, people, they know you're talking about yourself, right? So you'd say like, Chone aya achsayi, gleitchach enach Lance. Don't need any verb. Chone yuchat duasak, gleitchach enach Lance. Right? You could say yuchat duasak. You can say it again. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, in the flow of sort of conversation, we already know. And so you could do a bunch of this stuff. And you could even go right to the clan and the names and stuff. So once you said one type of thing, once you start talking about clan, then when you get into like fathers, people, grandparents and stuff, we kind of get it, right? So here you could say, I guess we'll do this real quick. Kleidchach einach. And so Tlingit is a white person, and then Chenach is through the mouth. So Tlingit Chenach, German Chenach, Dekina Chenach. And you could bring other, you could say Japanese and stuff like that, but usually the things that we're really familiar with, like we'd probably say, if you're speaking Tlingit, you'd probably say Tsutskan Chenach. But if you're talking to someone and they are, you might say Samalgach, which is their name for their own language. Or you might say Hatkil, or you might say Dekina, Chenach, kind of depends on who you're talking to. Is a mouth, Nach is through. Right, so we kind of did that thing about Jiwu, in the possession. Jidach would be, it's from somebody, like here's a gift for you, it's from so-and-so. So you'd say, Bob Jidach. And then Jide could be towards someone's possession. And same thing, Ede, to their mouth, Edach, like that person said it, Enach. And Enach usually refers to a language, because it's going through the mouth of something. So then we get to this could be a moiety. Usually you're going to say one of three things. So what would one of those things be for moieties?
Yes.
Yesh, so say, Yesh na chatzati.
Yesh na chatzati.
Yesh na chatzati.
Yesh na chatzati.
What would another one be?
Chak
na chatzati.
Chak na chatzati.
Chak na chatzati.
Chak na chatzati.
What would the third one be? Quch na chatzati.
Quch na chatzati.
Quch na chatzati.
Quch na chatzati.
And it's mostly folks who are inland. They'll say quch. They'll say in Tlingit, yesh na chatzati. But when they translate that to English, they'll usually say crow. Although I have heard a speaker from Angoon who's Deshitan, refer to herself as S'achwesha, a crow woman. So they seem to be, in the stories, S'achwesh is Raven's nephew. Most of the birds are his grandchildren. Qanuk is, he probably just says, it's hard to tell because he's like, in-law, but he just wants something, so he's just probably lying about it. And so we went over this one, so that underline X goes on to something, and then chatzati would mean I am one of these things, right? So this is often a clan, so you say kagwantan chatzati, or you could say daklawe chatzati. It gets that on the end, right? And so this could also be a career. Kawdliyeeji chatzati, Tlingit chatzati, what is that? Kawdliyeeji chatzati. I think that's how it is. Dentist. Chatzati. It could also be like to be a type of thing. Sati. He's a poor person. Jididana sati. She's a rich person.
Could you say like Ankawu Chatzati?
Yeah, Ankawu chatzati. But most people, you wouldn't say that usually, because you'd be like, I'm the king of the land, right? But you could say like say we're talking about somebody, you could say an yadich sati. That's a person of high status. So you could certainly say stuff like that. And so, but you got to just put the on there, and then chatzati, isati, sati, hasati, yisati, hasati. So this is, as we're sort of explaining some stuff too, in our Tlingit immersion world. Shukach adech hasati, hasko adaklaweidi, right? Or you say, dachnechka awe ataswuat, de shitan chasati. These two guys, they were walking around. They're de shitan, right? And so this is how we use this stuff. To also say someone became something, they'll say like, Qunach Tlingit chausati. We really became true Tlingits, right? And so that's how this one is used. Again, it's clans, any kind of nationality could go in there. So you could say Korean chasati. You just put the after it if you want to bring it into the Tlingit language. So then once you're sort of talking about yourself, you could say the clan and then yedi, kagwantan yedi, right? And then you could say deshitan yedi, shukach adi yedi. This is what your father is. Qunana yedi, tleitcha yedi, Coast Guard yedi, whatever it is, Filipino yedi. And this is how you would honor your father's people. Dechchan would be one of your, you wouldn't say like this wouldn't be like, no matter what, so your mother's, that's all just your clan because that's the line we follow. So once you said your like Shukach Adi or Shuknach Adi or whatever, we already know it goes all the way up that matrilineal line. Ika Yananach, right? Through your mother's side. But your mother's father, that would be your grandparents' clan. Daklaweidi Dachchan. My grandfather, my mother's father, was Daklaweidi. So I'm a grandchild of the Daklaweidi. And then your father's clan, you're also a grandchild of that clan. And so that's how Yeah, away. So kawdliyeeji, or and you can, and this stuff, it can go back pretty far.
Your father's clan, your father's clan, you're also a grandchild of?
Mm-hmm. And if people marry into to the same moiety, that's just something that happens. But if everyone's marrying opposite moieties, and your father's your opposite, and then your father's kind of same, it might even be, unless it's like, let's say you're Shluka Chadi, your father's Kagwantan, but his father's Shluka Chadi, you don't say anything about that. Because you're not, well, I don't know. It gets a little complicated. That's considered a good thing. Because you're your own grandparent. So then there's another one here. Achdakanuchu. This is your mother's father's clan.
Mother's father.
Mother's father. And that's how you get to the Dakanuchu. It's not like you just look back at your family tree and pick one. Typically, this is the way it was explained to me. It was your mother's father. And then there's a couple ways to say these things, like Aya achdakanuchu, achdakanuchuch sati. But also, you don't need to be using the sati for everything, right? You can just, once you get there into that thing where like we know we're talking about you, I think the rest could be pretty short. Because the thing about Tlingit introductions is they can go like 10, 15 minutes. So we're like, let's shut it down. Any questions?
So what, you wouldn't say you're the mother's father's father?
So your mother's father's father, if that's a different clan than you, that you would be Dutchhan. So they're all your Shishas.
Well, I've heard that Dakanuku is just like great grandparents earlier.
It could be that too. Like it's going back a couple generations.
Yeah.
When we were kind of using it, and then they sort of, the way it was explained to me is they said that's who it is, and the others, you're a grandchild of that clan, so that you can go these things go way back. How close people keep track of this stuff, going back 4 or 5 generations. But then that Dakanuku, the way it was explained to me, was one particular clan, because you have a really special relationship with them.
So in the blank there, you're putting the clan name.
Yeah, so those would be clans. Yeah. Or it could be, you could say Dekina awe Achdakanuku.
But you would never use that you would never refer to that person as your Dachanuhu. It's the clan name. You wouldn't be like, Faraz Behil, my Dachanuhu either.
No, but in the context of explaining it, you could be sort of you could talk about them. Like, you could say, like, the Dowenhauers, for example, they could say, Achladu ish awe shangakedi, Adre shangakedi awe Achdakanuku. Decide awe kuchain, like Kalkinach Frank Italian. So you could just talk about that person, but you usually don't refer. I mean, maybe. So, okay. Okay. Well, I guess it's a good time for a break. Let's take 7 or 8 minutes. Come back somewhere. Let's come back at 10 till.
Protein.
Healthy stuff.
I've read a couple of questions. One was, if somebody's adopted into a clan, what do they do about a Dakanuku and Yadi and Dechchan? My suggestion is everybody has a Yadi and a Dechchan. I'm Sami Dechchan. I'm English Dechchan. And so you just follow that kinship system. And we're going to look at kinship structures in the next couple weeks. I can't remember which chapter. There's a chapter where we really lay out how the kinship structure works. And it's important. There's a couple of things that get kind of confusing. And I think the most confusing thing is probably nieces and nephews. And so again, I'll explain it the way that it was explained to me. And whenever you hear something that might be sort of, someone says, it's not right, right? Let's just think about it and let's just try and figure it out. Because I'm not trying to ever say anybody's wrong. But there's a bunch of stuff where, as I learned the language, if something seemed unclear, I would certainly go and ask the old people and then try to figure out how this stuff works. Kinship is a big one because it gets so clan specific and it's also kind of somewhat negotiable. What you'll find is like people get close to each other, they might use some different kinship terms. But otherwise, like if someone gets adopted and brought into a clan, like they got a name, and they become that person in a lot of ways. There are certainly times where, like if some celebrity moved here, I'm sure someone would adopt them, right? That's just would probably happen. And maybe it's a big deal to them, maybe it isn't. But sometimes people get adopted and, I don't know. There's some politicians that got some pretty big names, but that doesn't mean that now they've got this, they would just grab the Dakanuku. So it's a little slippery because there are some things, like if you was given the name Khone when I was very young, and there was another Khone, and I consider myself that Khone as well. And so if someone comes into Tlingit culture who are not born Tlingit, and then we give them a name, maybe they kind of, it's a case-by-case situation. It's totally, I think, up to that particular clan. Because I've seen situations where someone said, you remind me so much of my younger brother, and I miss him. I'm going to give you that name. And I fully respect what they did. And then I'm not going to tell any other clan what to do. I'm not going to try and tell them how they should think about it either. So these are things that we should talk through. I think bigger things for us is making sure, making sure people who are born Tlingit have a name and a clan. And make sure that people who come and are part of this language movement, they get taken in. Because we need, the reality is 99 out of 100 Tlingit people are not a part of the language movement yet. So we need to take the people who are going to be part of the movement. And then it builds and it builds. And then when we're Tlingit, and through the Tlingit language, we're human beings. I think when we get into this colonial world, we start getting into this who's what and who isn't what. But I know it's also complicated. But everybody has a kinship. Everybody has parents. It all works the same. It's just we think about it different. So the second question we had was about sort of cooking. We were just sort of talking about some cooking terms. And once you get into Tlingit, you realize, like, oh yeah, what type of cooking you doing? Because and it's just like English. You can bake it, boil it, broil it, barbecue it. You can cook it in a pit. You can, there's a kalua. There's a bunch of different ways to cook things, and then we get to eat it. So that's great. So I want to have big cooking parties where we cook things a whole bunch of different ways and talk about it. So the general term for cooking is it's the e verb, right? So you'd say uwa-e, or you'd say ausa-e, depending. And there's a couple different sort of things. They're very similar. One is typically more of the ausa-e is the one you hear more often, and that's associated with somebody who's actually doing the cooking. To cook by open flame or near coals, and this is the one where it says may be extended to include cooking in an oven. So maybe this would be baking the cake, right? And so this one is hus with an L classifier. So the other thing that there's some things we're going to realize. And when we read this, gli chetus, that is a zero conjugation type verb. And that's going to matter when you look at it later. But then you could say, And we got to find some other examples. Sometimes we got to go to elders who know these verbs and document them. So this is one thing, is if you find a verb and then you look at Agishawu's online verb database, and if this one isn't in there, it's something we might have to go and get from some speakers. And then you've got shadak, which would be cooking it under fire, wrapped in skunk cabbage, which we should certainly do because that is so yummy. Cooked whole in the skin, usually a seal, while camping. Shahits, right? And so this says wududlehits. That is a short perfective, so that's also a zero conjugation class. Cooking, this would be called like probably blanching in English, the way you cook herring eggs by dipping them into boiling water, not boiling them. Hashaqat, to partially cook a fish when freshly killed, shlituch. And then to cook later, or fat cooked as a snack, shaqis. And then there's a couple others that aren't in here. So one would be to barbecue. So there's, oh, I guess it's under broil. So this one is chlituch or chlitzik. Chlitzik is the one that they use probably more often. Chlituch would be to cook them really fast, like probably directly over the fire, whereas chlituch might be a little bit farther above. There's another one which is guach. The only instance I've heard of that one, though, is this little bird who took everybody's eyeballs out and toasted them. Chlituch is also, I think that's the one. Tsuk is, sorry, tsuk is to fry. So okay, so we've got cook, broil. While we're here, we'll look at boil and then fry. And what I'll do is I'll put all these together, and we'll grind through them at some point. So here's boil. So shla'uk. So that's so there's going to be command forms and there's going to be other forms. We'll learn that stuff. Boiling fish is different, but this is to make boiled fish. That's not to make chowder, or it's specifically to make utri, which you can ruin if you put too many things in it. Or I know some people, the only thing that they like more than utri is cooking utri, but maybe the only thing they love more than that is telling people how to cook utri. Watching them be like, now put that in right now, okay. Sita is to boil meats, and then kasita is to boil berries. So then we had cook, broil, boil, and I think our last one is probably fry.
What about stuffing food with other food?
That's a good question. You'd probably say something like atude a kawachuch, which is to pat or to pack it in, and then to cook it. Although we came up with some unflattering names for stuffing one Thanksgiving.
There's something in the Nash story about, I think it's a Nash story about stuffing some kind of stomach with like ground squirrel meat.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can find that. So here's frying until it's crisp. And then there's, I can't remember the one, I think this is the one, kasukwa saknin, is what we usually say for toast, right? And so you'll grab one of these and then you could make it into kind of an adjective and then put it on there. So you could say like, Kitsiki wana dutli, konach a ya Navajo, didn't they ani kak I had some barbecued lamb. It was delicious in Navajo country.
Kusanin is toast. Wasa duasak fry bread. Tlingit chainach.
Ich katsaknein. Ich katsaknein. It's bread on the oil. Okay. I'll try and find stuffing, and if you find it, let me know. But let's look at something else here. So these are just some useful phrases. I want to go over this, and then we'll go back into the beginning Tlingit and probably wrap up that chapter, and then we'll probably maybe be done for the day. So we went over parts of this. So here's some greetings, some things that you could say when someone says, everybody say, Wasaiyati.
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 And if you go up to the inland, you can impress them by saying, Masaiyati.
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 And you might hear some people say, Wasasiyati.
Wasasiyati.
So that S is just this little contracted particle. It's sort of, there's just a slight difference. Wasa'iyati is how are you doing? Wasasiyati could probably be interpreted as maybe tell me how you're doing. So here we got good, feel happy. Yak'e.
Yak'e.
Tuwu yak'e.
Tuwu yak'e.
Tuwu segu.
Tuwu segu.
And then, so let's just try it. So that's good, but how would you say I am good? Yak'e. You are good. Okay. So tuwu yak'e, I feel good. How about you feel good?
Tuwu yak'e.
Tuwu yak'e. She feels good. Tuwu yak'e. So once we see we know we're in the realm of the possessive pronoun. Right? And so this, whenever you have tuwu, you're going to have ituwu, dutuwu, hatuwu, yituwu, hasdutuwu. Right? And then you could say, I'm okay. Kashwasachat ute.
Kashwasachat ute.
Kashwasachat ute.
Kashwasachat ute.
I'm just me. Chachataya.
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 Same. Chushugu.
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 Terrible. Keshushka.
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 And you can say keshchatushka, but I think a lot of times, like I'm terrible. That could be interpreted as like I am terrible, not like I feel terrible. So you gotta be kind of careful with that one. Keshushka would, but those ones are really good. Like something great happens, you could just say yak'e. Something terrible happens, keshushka. Keshachtuwushka. And keshachtushka. I feel terrible and I'm unhappy. Keshachtushka. I am unhappy. So a few more of these. So the first one is I am grateful.
Why like that?
Shtuqa khattati.
Shtuqa khattati.
Shtuqa khattati.
Shtuqa khattati.
My spirits are soaring. Tuwu kindeu deqin.
Tuwu kindeu deqin.
Tuwu kindeu deqin.
Ach tu kinde.
Kinde is upwards.
Kinde.
Kin was like the wind. It flew up. Okay.
Kin.
This one, I am proud of it. Ach tu kshekei akach.
Ach tu klikei ach.
Ach tu kshekei akach.
Ach tu klikei
So you've got the akach on there.
Kach.
I had some students who, would just sort of say, "How are you doing?" And they'd say, "Ach tu chitzin," and that means like, I feel brave. But then I had to just sort of give a little advice and say, I probably wouldn't say that about yourself. Just because in Tlingit, you got to be careful because it could look like boasting, and then we don't want to do that. Same with some people would say, "Ach tu klaqei." It's like, well, we want people to have pride, and that means I'm proud. But if you just sort of, it could be interpreted multiple ways. Because if you said "du tu klaqei," some people might interpret that as like that person is too proud. They're too proud of themselves. They're kind of arrogant. But when you put the akach, then it's usually fine. And the you could say, that one is a possessive pronoun. So you could say, ach tu ikach. I'm proud of you. And so it's a really nice statement to use, but it's one that you got to be kind of careful with.
What's the kach part? What is that?
So that's what you're proud of.
So, ach tu klikei akach. I'm proud of
It.
that, of this, of it.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning like the project that we're talking about, or
like you could say,
run.
Yeah, those kids are really good it. Ach tu klaqei akach. And usually the references something back to what we've already talked about. Or you could say ikach, so I could change to the I. Ikach, I'm proud of you. Ach tu klaqei hastukach, I'm proud of them.
Would that ever be appropriate to talk about your own kind of personal accomplishments? Would that?
Not in public. I don't think. It's
Only
sort
to
of like,
yourself.
Great job, but someone else has to do that for you.
Under your breath.
I mean, but maybe you're going in to address some teenagers in the Tlingit immersion school, and you're just talking about this trial, how you overcame these things. You could certainly talk about that stuff, but you couldn't say things like, "I'm proud of what I did." The other thing is what you shouldn't do. Let's say we just had a tukach adiku'ich, and we're getting near the end. I should not stand up and say, "I'm proud of how we did," right? Because I was just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. These are just things that we were taught. Is you say you're proud of your opposite clan. You're proud. Be proud of kids. Be proud of youth. Be proud of, someone does something really amazing. You can certainly compliment them and say, "I'm proud of you and what you've done." But the way that we were taught is you're really careful about not trying to push your, like, look at all this stuff I did, right? And so, which is, it's something that sometimes you do in the world, like, here's my resume, and let me tell you why I'll be the right fit for this project, right?
Probably makes grant writing difficult.
Yeah, right. In the fully Tlingit world, right? When we've got this immersion world built, job interviews
That's the opposite.
so hard.
Write the justification for the grant.
Yeah. I had to always bring a clan opposite. Like, they'll tell you all about me. Right? Okay.
Is there an appropriate way to say ach tu tlatzin, or getting there? I am getting strong. I am getting stronger.
Yeah, you could probably say ach tu ke nashtzin.
Ke
Nashtzin. I'm getting brave. And again, there's lots of phrases you could use with people you know really well. So I'm not saying like don't ever say this stuff. I'm just trying to make a clear line between if you're ever up in front of the people, you tend to not talk about yourself. But certainly, like if you're just talking to, let's say you have a hard time making public presentations, or you have a hard time just speaking the language to people because you're afraid of making mistakes. But then, and we could share lots of stuff in here because we've got a safe space classroom. We're not doing public performances at all.
It's all online.
Well, that's for other people who are learning. We're not making speeches to,
FBI is not going
so. Kavanaugh's not watching this. But
Trump
yeah,
would say that.
I'm getting strong. They're getting brave. And then also talking about other people. Boom, you can talk them up big time. Okay. So other things, like if someone says, how are you doing? This one is pretty fun too. It's fun for other things too. It translates to, if you only knew. Yisakuush. Yisakuush. So my uncle Johnny Marks, when I'd see him, I'd say, Wasasiyati. I'd say, Yisakuush, and he would just laugh so hard.
Yeah.
Uchtzaka. Be very careful with this. Only use it jokingly. Certain elders might get grumpy with you. It means I'm lazy. Okay? And it's just if someone's in there just for fun, because sometimes in small circles you can have fun. Because we talk a lot about like these sort of cultural, social protocols. But when it's just you and some friends, like you can get away with a lot. But if somebody doesn't know you that well, you got to be careful. Or if somebody is witnessing this conversation, you got to be kind of careful.
How about achsikuush?
Chwasakuush.
I have no idea.
Yeah, chwasakuush. If I only knew.
If I only knew what I would do.
If I only knew, yeah. So yisaku, chwasaku. Right? Chwasaku would be me. Osakuush. You could say that too. If he only knew. I've heard elders respond to wasasiyati with this one as well. I've never heard elders say uchtzaka. I can't remember why I put it in there, just for fun. Actually, we were going through these, and we were doing an exercise, and I said, let's make a list. Like, you're doing good, so-so, or smart alecky things, and then another category, things aren't going great. And I was like just trying to gather some, because usually we say wasa'iti, I was like, maybe there's more to it than that. And so we got to the negative list, the not doing great, and this one elder, he was getting he didn't like it. He says, what if we just keep saying that and then it's going to end up that way? I was like, okay, I understand. But sometimes we just want to learn how to say it. And so we went through it very fast, and then we did some other sort of things. But then someone said this one, and what does chet with the chet mean?
Tired.
I'm tired. And so a young person said that, and the elder said, why don't you say how it really is? Uchtzaka. I'm lazy. That's why I put it in there, because I thought it was funny. Okay. So someone asks you how you're doing. If you don't know them, this might not be one you want to use. But if you do, and you want to just kind of chuckle, Kesh idat at aya.
Kesh idat at aya.
Kesh idat at aya.
Kesh idat at aya.
None of your business. That could also mean it's not about you, right? And so it's a good one to use. Maybe not for this context. Only if it's just being funny. It could, but maybe it's someone you don't like. I mean, I guess you could use it like that. But the other way that I've heard is if you're someone's being kind of nosy. Right. Oh, what happened? Also, like sometimes we're out in public and maybe there's some dramatic discussion going on, like people are arguing in public, and I got kids and they're like just staring at them, So I was like, Like, that's none of your business. Or, same thing. We're talking about something kind of intense. Kid comes up, it's not about you. Go away, right? And it's not always rude to say stuff like this. In certain contexts, it could be, right? Okay, so I'm lonely or I'm bored. خطوة التيش. خطوة التيش. I'm tired. خطوة الخط. خطوة الخط. Winter's coming, days are getting darker. I had a ban on this word for like my last group of students. I was like, that's banished. But you can say it. Okay, it's fine. Feel however you want. And I'm sad. Achtuwu yanik. Achtuwu yanik. Achtuwu yanik. Achtuwu yanik. So then we went through a few of these, but these are just useful, handy things, right? So to say, what do you have? Dasa ejiwu. Dasa ejiwu. Dasa ejiwu. Dasa ejiwu. Hin achjiwu. Hin achjiwu. Hin achjiwu. Hin achjiwu. And then to give someone something, like, I got you these scissors, kasha kasha. I would say, ijiyis. 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 Or, if your mom was looking for scissors and I bought her some, I could say, na, itajiyis. Right? Take it. This is for your mother. So sometimes we don't need a verb. We can communicate a lot without a verb. That jiyis is usually specifically referring to some sort of gift, right? Like you go to Canada, it's a thing, I think, in Canada. They just, if they're friends with you, they give you money for your kids, right? No, tekadana, yetki jiyis. Here's $20 for your kids. Then you just go buy it. It's a nice thing. And then, if you were the carrier of the scissors, but they're not from you, you could say to your mom, na, ijiyis chone jidach, right? And again, there's no verbs there. This is for you. It's from chone. So jidach would be somebody gave it, right? And that's usually referring to giving things, these ones, okay?
Could you say the sentence again? This is given.
Yeah, so na is take it, na.
Na.
Ijiyis chone jidach. Although, I'm not giving anybody, somebody else. Huh? I'm so generous.
Is that just from a person, or could that be from an event, like like this is from this, or?
Usually you'd want to trace it back. You'd say hastu jidach, it's from them. Yeah, so you could say like, tan hastu jidachaya, ku'ikaya, achjitasawati. But then you probably need a verb.
Where did this candy come from? Trick-or-treating jita. They have to be from that person?
Yeah, it's usually a specific person.
My neighbor or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. And you can say, atu jidachsawe. Who gave that to you? When your kid's in trouble. Who gave you cigarettes? Right? And then we just put this one in there because we've had it before. So jiwu is to have, but it doesn't work for like had or will have. It's just the right now because there's no verb. So if you want to say I had a boat. Yak achjiyewutiyin. So let's just do the achjiyewutiyin. 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 I don't have it anymore. Right? So this was, and you'll find this in the Tagha story when Shah Dag is talking about these boats that he had. And it's like, my kid wrecked the boat. It's like, it's still a story. It's like, okay. So then beyond there's having, then there's wanting and needing. What do you want? Dasa ituwasagu. Dasa ituwasagu. Dasa ituwasagu. Dasa ituwasagu. Hinach tuwasagu.
In achtua sigu.
So now you get any noun, and that could mean I like it or I want it. Same sort of thing, right? So then I've heard two different ways to say, do you want it? So this was something where we can use usually some gentle corrections. I was at a function, and I was so happy to hear these young folks walk around using Tlingit. But they'd say, hine tuasagu? I was like, that's not a question, right? That's not a question. It's a question in English, right? So you'd say, hinge ituasagu.
Hinge ituasagu.
Hinge ituasagu.
Hinge ituasagu.
Hin ituagesagu.
Hin ituagesagu.
Hin ituagesagu.
Hin ituagesagu.
One on the top is the one I hear more often. Either they're both fine. And then you say, goodness cheesh.
Goodness cheesh.
Goodness cheesh.
Goodness cheesh.
You gotta be careful with this one, because you won't get invited back to the house. Kesh ach tuwa ushka.
Kesh achtua ushka.
Kesh ach tuwa ushka.
Kesh achtua ushka.
What's that tuwa?
So the tuwa is tu is inside, and ya is like a face. It's something that it's hard to sort of look at the literal description, but it usually just has to do with wanting or desiring. Yeah, so you could say kawdliyeeji, they wanted it. So I guess want or desire would probably be, because you can also say, so we see that ach tuwa sagu. You could say ach tuwa isagu, and then it's turn the lights down, baby, because that's what you just said. Like, I want you, and that's usually like it's getting pretty fresh. Right? But we gotta, we gotta make Tlingit speaking babies, so we gotta have some of the lingo. But then you should also notice when you put klesh in front of things that you're getting the verb is changing. Right? That's just something we should start noticing now. Yati uti, sigu ushku. And we start recognizing that, right? And we're going to start learning how to do that. So if you're saying kesh ach tuwa sigu, okay, let's just push it one step further. Kesh ach tuwa ushku. I don't want it. That verb should go negative, right? And we see that sigu and ushku, it's actually a different verb, right? To say, I don't want that, right? And then you could put these, they could tie, you'll learn later how to tie these into other things. Ach tuwa sigu hati guti, I want you to come over. Kashach tuwa ushku hati guti, I don't want you to come here, right? And so we'll learn how to do that kind of stuff too.
Achtua ushgu hin. It's at the end of the phrase.
It usually goes at the end, right?
When?
What's that?
For anything negative, you
For the negative.
Object at
Yeah.
the end.
And it's usually just like, and it doesn't really, the word order thing that's going on here is usually Tlingit wants to communicate the most important stuff up front.
Yeah.
So the most important thing when you want it is what the thing is.
Mm-hmm.
But when you don't want it, the most important thing is like, I don't want it. Kashach tuwa ushku hin. I don't want water. Kashach tuwa ushku kahwe. I don't want coffee. Okay, so then there's a few other things, Payday's tomorrow for me, so these are good ones. Adujiwusa wedana.
Adujiwusa wedana.
Adujiwusa wedana.
Adujiwusa wedana.
So that the dana could be anything, right? Adujiwusa we atchishi. Who's got the dry fish, right? Like I roll into town, looking for like some dry fish all the time, right? Adujiwusa wegao. Who has the drum? Adujiwusa yak. Who has a boat? Adujiwusa Tukatash, who has pants? I don't know. And then there's some other things that sometimes you want to be able to say. Ach eat his.
Ach eat his.
Ach eat his.
Ach eat his.
So his is the verb root to borrow, right? Loan me some money. Borrow me some money. Right? And then, of course, Heshtana achji.
Heshtana achji.
Heshtana achji.
Heshtana achji.
So this is not a verb, but also the w suffix won't be there when you have kleish, because it's not there, right? So that w part in the g w means it is there. But if it's not there, kashtana achji, kashkachwe achji, kashkar achji, kashyak achji, right? It's my country song, right? Kashkayt achji. Kashwat achji. Kashtasa achji. I got nothing.
Can you modify the noun when you use chiwa? Can you say like chiye genk dana achji?
Yeah, you can say chaye genk dana achji. I got a little bit of money. You could say ye genki, or you could say usk as well. Uski kuhida achji. Like I have a small pencil. It's not fun. I will buy it for you. Ijigis kukwa'u. Ijigis kukwa'u. So there's a couple of things with this. Is we have the GS, but that only works for like, I'm going to get this and give it to you. Right? Because you could say yes, some other verb, and I'm going to do that verb for you, like as a favor. But the GS is like, I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to make a chair and give it to you. Right? I'm going to build you a house, Grandma. So that's how these things start sort of, again, as we get to the intermediate level, we just start learning how to tie a few more things together. Because next thing you know, we're able to string these together and start making sentences. Right? Ach tuwu yishak'e. Ach tuwu yishak'e. And another way that could be interpreted is, you made me feel better, right? You helped me out. You improved it. So that yishak'e is related to yak'e. Now somebody has done that. Yishak'e, you made it better. There was a hole in my roof. There was I had the sad country song, but then you came along. And now I got a double album of love songs. Okay. Any questions? You got like 1 minute for questions?
So Yishlik A is you made it good.
Yeah. You improved it. Made it better.
Good for you.
And then the achtu is like, you made me feel better. There's also achtu yishat'ah. You comforted me. You warmed up my spirit. That's a very Tlingit concept.
What is that verb at the end? Aktuwu.
This one is yishlik-a.
Yeah.
For A. Like,
So yak-a, if something is good.
Yeah, but when you said you warmed my spirit.
Oh, yishlit-a. So same thing like kuwat-a, yat-a. Yat-a is it's hot. Yishlit-a is you heated it up.
Yes.
So you warmed up my spirit, is how you say that one. So this is something you'll also start noticing. There are certain things that can just be a certain way, but if someone makes it that way, you'll see the classifier switch to usually an S or an L, right? Chatyanik, I'm sick. Chatyasanik, you got me sick. You gave me a cold. Chatyake, I feel good. Chatyashake, you made me better, right? Okay. Good enough for now.
Good enough for now.
Okay, gonna cheese wish to cut you on. Yachiki away, whoosh. Yigach to steam, gonna cheese, hawe. Oh, okay.
I was thinking about